Hi, welcome to All Things Possible TV. I'm Kris and
I'm Bill. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm glad I'm here.
we're excited to share with you today. We are going to talk today about, are you in resistance? Are you in resistance to the things that could be challenging, to things that cause fear for you? Or are you willing to rise to the next level, to rise to that next promotion, to that next thing, and have better success in your life? We're thrilled to have you here. Before we get into all the content, we just want to invite you to join our community, All Things Possible, and join that at allthingspossible.biz.
Right here. Allthingspossible.biz. Click and clack and you'll be there, and we got some great stuff for you.
Yeah, there's some great gifts and some content, as well as a lot of the videos and a lot of the things that we do. Personal development as well as healing. We believe that you heal from the inside out, as well as that you have better success from the inside out. And by taking on those things and getting rid of the resistance.
Very good. So, join our community. Go there. I want to start out by telling you a story, and this is just something that happened the other day to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, isn't there a life lesson in that? And this is the story of the honeybee, of the confused little honeybee. I don't know what kind of a honeybee
and baby
it was.
talking makes it so much better.
But I got in my truck to leave the other day, and I'd left my windows down. Middle of summer, it's hot, and I got down the road just at the end of our driveway, and I realized there was something buzzing around inside the truck. And the first thing I think, oh, hornet! I'm going to get my hat or something. I'm going to put it out of its misery so it don't put me in misery by stinging me. And when it lit, I realized it was a honeybee. And I love honeybees. I love hornets too. I just don't love them around me. But I thought, oh my goodness, if this honeybee stays in my truck and waits till I get where I'm going, you know, if because of the fear of the wind and all the noise and the movement and everything, it's unusual for this honeybee. And I parked somewhere here 10, 15, 20 miles away, this honeybee will fly out, but then it's going to be lost. And a honeybee doesn't survive without its community. And so I knew that it would be death for this honeybee. And so I took my hat off my head and I started trying to, as I'm driving down the road, I'm trying to switch this honeybee. And every time...
Don't text and drive, but you can get honeybees
but you
out
can swat,
and drive.
You can swat bees and drive. So I was trying to get my hat and catch it in that, or move it out, chase it out. And this honeybee kept resisting me. It's like, oh my gosh, this big monster is trying to kill me. It's captured me. It's taken me somewhere where I don't want to go. And this is bad. Now it's trying to kill me. And so it was like crawling down in the little vents. It was doing everything it could to avoid me. My intent, I knew I could see the big picture. I knew what was best for this honeybee. I knew it needed to get out of my truck. Otherwise it would die, even if, you know, just out of not being able to survive without its community. Finally, I pulled over about 2 blocks away from home. But if I take it much further, it may not be able to find its way back to its hive. And I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and it was a long time. And I'm sure that this little honeybee now is in therapy or on Prozac because it was very stressful. The more I tried to get the honeybee out of the truck, the more it resisted me. The more it tried to run away from me. It's like, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. This is a bad situation, and I am going to run away from this situation. In the long story short, I just got mad and I swatted the honeybee. No. There's a life story for you. Of course we didn't do that. Eventually I was able to get the little bee to fly away out the window. And it turned around and said, why'd you do that? But
he does have an imagination, right?
I can imagine what he was saying. It's like, boy, I thought he was going to kill me. I'm glad I escaped. But the whole time it resisted all my efforts to get it to leave the truck because it at least felt safe there. It was a new situation, but what I was trying to introduce it to seemed a lot worse. The flying hat. And so it probably thought it was a UFO type thing. That's my story of the honeybee.
And he's sticking to it.
And I'm sticking to it no matter what.
But what can we learn from this? How many times do we resist no matter what? We fight and push back against what is ultimately the best for us. I want to tell a little story on my son and us. When he was 9, he had cancer, and in the first short period of time, in a matter of a few months, he lost 67 pounds and weighed 68. So he'd lost 50% of his body weight in a short period of time.
So which means he started out at about 130 pounds. I was processing the math there, going like, was he down to a pound? But no, okay, I'm with you now. You had to slow down for us country boys.
Some people can't stay with me. But at the time, we fought at all costs. We did not want a feeding tube. We did not want that. I was going to special restaurants. Anything he wanted to eat, I would go buy.
And we were nagging him. You gotta eat, you gotta eat, you have to eat.
We tried to force feed him. We tried to do everything because we did not want the feeding tube. You know, who wants a tube up their nose and down to their belly and taped to their face? Like, it was just going to be this horrible thing. Not only was it going to be difficult and a challenge for me to stay up all night and feed, do this feeding tube and do the machine, we just, we thought it was dumb. We didn't want to do it.
We just thought it would be worse for him, and we resisted that.
Yeah, we resisted and
we convinced him to resist it too. That no, I don't want a feeding tube. We was afraid the kids at school would make fun of him, whatever.
Right. It would look cool. It wouldn't be, he's bald. It's not like there wasn't some other things going on, but we felt like that was going to be the best thing, was to resist this. And we did. We resisted forever. And we finally got to the point where, like, he was going to be hospitalized because he couldn't keep food down, and he couldn't do it. He had lost the battle with this.
Yeah, when you got a 9-year-old kid that's lost half his body weight, that's pretty bad. It got to where if we went anywhere that was just more than a few steps, we actually had a baby stroller that he would sit back in the baby stroller.
Yeah, a 2-person. So he'd sit in the back piece and put his legs up over, which were just little sticks. Because he was what, 5'3"?
Yeah.
Wore a size 9-man shoe. He was on the scale to be over 7 foot tall, with where they thought he was at. Or not 7 foot, but like 6'4", 6'5".
6'5".
Yeah. And
taller than either of his progenitors.
Right, which my twin brother was 6'4", so we knew that he could have a lot of height, but currently he wasn't making it, and we finally gave in. It was the best thing we ever did.
It was so much peaceful. He started doing better. He started improving.
He had more strength. He could stay awake.
Mom and Dad weren't nagging him to eat things that tasted like barf to him. It was just.
He wasn't throwing up. He wasn't having to go through the throwing up and eating something and throwing it up. And we didn't have to go through any of that. We just turned the feeding tube on for 12 hours at night. And it literally was the best thing we could do for his health and his wellness. Yet we resisted it. How many times are you finding things that you're resisting in your life that would ultimately up-level your life to a better situation?
And a lot of times, we're not saying that every time something bad happens that you should embrace it wholeheartedly and dive headfirst into it. But what we are saying is, I'm in a situation, how can I make the best out of it? Now, you know what? I'm not blaming this honeybee. He may not have studied hard in school and understood, higher thinking. But I had his best interest in, I could see things he couldn't. And I was moving him along for his good. I'm sure that now he's looking back, that weird guy? I am so grateful he swatted his hat at me till I flew out of his truck. This is so awesome, because otherwise I wouldn't be living with my friends. And I couldn't take stuff to the queen. And, and I would be a shriveled up piece of wings and striped butt.
But dog food, because Bonnie likes to catch flies and bees.
I'm sure that's what this bee is thinking now, right? But it really, that was the best thing for that, and it resisted to where, it took me a while. I was almost like, well, you get to choose. But do we do that sometimes? That which we resist will persist. When we fight against something, it's hard to get it to move past it. And so if we find ourselves in a tough situation, cancer, whatever is going on in your life, maybe you've lost a loved one, maybe you have an illness, maybe you're struggling with depression or anxiety. Instead of being in resistance and hating everything about what you're going through, try and make something good out of it. Try and find the best parts And instead of saying, I hate this, you know how a little kid will sit down in the grocery store aisle and refuse to move until he gets a crate
Bill
of
still
candy
does
bars?
this. He still sits down.
Not every candy bar. So only some of them make me want to do that. But do we sit down and we just refuse to move and we don't try to make the best of the situation? So that's our simple and short message, really.
Well, and there's an acronym with fear. It's forget everything and run, or it's face everything and rise. So that's the resist or rise. Are you willing to face what you have going on and rise because of it?
Are you going to dig your heels in, throw a tantrum, try and get everybody's sympathy and stay stuck where you are? Or are you going to embrace it and rise through it, regardless of how nasty it might be at the time?
I teach a whole piece on discover the gifts in your garbage. And right now it's the #1 thing that's requested when I'm speaking for audiences. And it's about finding the gift in the garbage. We all have challenges. We all have issues. We all have things that we're getting over, whether it's health or loss of a loved one or a challenge at work or a challenging child. There's all kinds of things that become our challenges. When we can find the gift and we can learn the lesson, we move forward faster. And we have a better life because of it. We learn from the experience and we gain and we grow. So resist or rise, it's your choice. You're at choice to decide what you want to do with it. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, and have success.
And face that fear. Face that fear. And rise above it. So
thanks for being with us. We love having you as part of our community. Again, if you haven't joined the community, right here on the screen, allthingspossible.biz. There's gifts there for you, and there's all kinds of information. Thanks for being part of our world. We love having you here with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.